experts, all facts laid bare. From Nigeria to the rest of the globe, we deliver news on time and in time. This is Globe File on Adamamogo 93.1 FM, Lekki, Lagos.
This is Globe File on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM Lagos. I am Sam Olugbemini. The headlines: Ribadu holds security talks with US officials over insecurity. Former Chief Justice accuses President Ruto of inflating road project costs. US-Iran peace talks falter again amid fresh Gulf clashes. And now to the details. We kick off with diplomatic matters. Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, met with United States Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, today said Ribadu conveyed the President's commitment to the bilateral relationship during their engagements. According to the statement, the discussions centered on strengthening cooperation between both countries in the fight against terrorism in West Africa, including threats by Boko Haram and ISIS, among ongoing attacks. Ribadu also met with Under-Secretary for Political Affairs Alison Hooker and the Assistant Secretary of War Daniel Zimrin during the visit. Taking a look at developments outside Nigeria, a new study has confirmed that the RTS malaria vaccine significantly reduced child deaths in the first 3 African countries to deploy it. According to a press release by the World Health Organization, an estimated 1 in 8 child deaths were averted among eligible recipients in Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi over 4 years. The evaluation, which assessed data from the MVI program from 2019 to 2023, found that positive impact is likely to be higher in other African countries now offering malaria vaccines to young children. WHO's Director of Immunization, Vaccines and Biologicals, Kate O'Brien, said the findings proved the vaccine's potential to change the trajectory of child mortality on the continent. Moving to South Africa, Parliament spokesperson Moloto Muthapo says the legislature respects the Constitutional Court's judgment that set aside the National Assembly's decision to not pursue an investigation into the Fala Fala scandal. This comes after the economic freedom fighters challenged the 6th Parliament's handling of the Section 89 Independent Panel report relating to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The 2020 Fala Fala robbery was a burglary of Ramaphosa's private farm, after which he was accused of serious misconduct by a panel of the Parliament. However, the Chief Justice Mandisa Baya yesterday ruled that Parliament's failure to adopt the Section 89 panel report on the Fala Fala scandal in 2022 was both irrational and invalid.
With respect to challenge to Rule 129I. It is declared that Rule 129I of the 9th edition of the Rules of the National Assembly, the NA rules, is inconsistent with the Constitution, invalid, and it is set aside. Pending any amendment, Rule 129I of the NA rules shall read as follows. Rule 129I, heading Consideration and Referral of Panel Report. Once the panel has reported, the Speaker must inform the Assembly of the report. The President must be provided with a copy of the report forthwith.
The Section 89 panel found that Ramaphosa may have violated his oath of office in connection with the incident. Now to Kenya, where former Chief Justice David Maraga has accused President William Ruto's administration of inflating the cost of the Rironi Mall Summit Road project. Maraga claimed the government cancelled a cheaper deal and re-awarded the project to a Chinese contractor at an extra cost. The former CJ alleged that the same contractor handled similar projects in Ethiopia at significantly lower prices.
During the time of President Kenyatta, a French company had been contracted to construct that road for about 159.27 billion. As soon as Ruto came to power, he revoked that contract and gave it to a Chinese company. But in Ethiopia, it is not costing even 100,000 shillings per meter. Are for the purposes of looting public resources, and they are being looted in large sums of money.
Maraga warned that Kenya risked economic collapse if corruption continued unchecked, insisting that the country could not afford another term under Ruto's leadership. We've got more stories to come on Globe File. US-Iran peace talks falter again amid fresh Gulf clashes.
You can listen to Adami Mogo 93.1 FM from any part of the world. Download the Adami Mogo 931 FM app from Google Play Store and Radio Garden. And follow us on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have eyewitness stories, clips exclusive to share, contact the Adami Mogo FM newsroom via mail at newsroom@adamimogofm.com. Or you can dial 070-634-03583. You can dial 090-319-69629. Adami Mogo 93.1 FM Lagos, voice of the light.
Thank you for keeping it locked onto the file on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM. Now in the Middle East, the peace talks between US and Iran appears to have collapsed again after the two sides traded fire in the Gulf amid a tenuous ceasefire. Washington had been awaiting Tehran's response to a proposal that would formally end the war before talks on more contentious issues, including Iran's nuclear program. However, speaking in Rome, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the US was expecting a response that day, although an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson said Tehran was still weighing its response.
The normalizing of their controlling of international waterway is both illegal and it's just something that's unacceptable. And the world has to start asking itself, what is it willing to do if Iran tries to normalize a control of an international waterway? I think that's unacceptable. So, but we're expecting a response from them today at some point. We have not received that yet, as you know, in the last hour, but perhaps that will come. Their system is still highly fractured and a bit dysfunctional as well. So that may be serving as an impediment.
However, CIA assessments indicated that U.S. blockade on Iranian vessels would have little impact, as Tehran has the capacity to withstand a naval blockade for months. In the meantime, Russia and Ukraine confirmed that they had agreed to a U.S.-brokered 3-day ceasefire that will run from May 9 to May 11, and U.S. President Donald Trump said he hoped it would be extended. Trump's announcement of the temporary ceasefire on Truth Social earlier in the day also said each country would exchange 1,000 prisoners of war. Both Kiev and Moscow have accused the order of violating ceasefires declared separately this week ahead of Russia's Victory Day parade that marks the 1945 Soviet victory over Nazi Germany. Meanwhile, Putin, during a scaled-back Victory Day parade, accused the NATO bloc of supporting what he described as aggressive armed forces against Russia. Elsewhere, Indonesian authorities today located 2 Singaporeans who went missing after Mount Dukono erupted on the Pacific island of Halmahera, but it was unclear whether they were alive. The head of Indonesia's rescue agency, Iwan Ramdhani, told the media that the coordinates of their locations had been established around the crater rim. Police Chief Pasaribu said they are investigating a tar company which provided services for the 20 hikers for possible negligence that endangered their lives. According to him, climbing to the Dukono summit has been prohibited since 2024 due to eruptions at that time, and questioned why the company still took tourists to climb the mount. And now to sports. Daniel Dubois tipped the scales at the career heaviest weight ahead of his shot at Fabio Wadley's WBO crown tonight. The 28-year-old boxer weighed 251.7 lbs, which is 9.5 lbs heavier than Wadley, who came in at 242.2 lbs. Fabio Wadley put his WBO World Tournament heavyweight strap on the line against British rival Daniel Dubois, and this rates a dangerous sport for the champion. The Suffolk slugger is unbeaten in a 21-fight professional career, but Dubois is a former IBF heavyweight king, and the Londoner is looking to come again. Before I bring Low File to an end, here's a recap of the biggest stories. We brought it to you that Nigeria's National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu met with United States Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington. We also brought it to you that former Chief Justice of Kenya David Maraga has accused President William Ruto's administration of inflating the cost of the Rironi Mao Summit Road project. We also told you that the peace talks between the US and Iran appear to have collapsed again after the two sides traded fire in the Gulf amid a tenuous ceasefire. Globe File was put together by Ayo Adike. Join us at 6 o'clock for more stories from across Nigeria and the rest of the globe. I am Sam Olugbemini. Thanks for